Supertramp, Bloody Well Right on KPOI 105.9. The Big Kahuna, Honolulu's only classic rock. It is the magical time of day where we usually stop and do something a little different. And I have very special guests joining me in the studio to help celebrate this time of day. And they are performing tomorrow night at Pipeline Cafe. It is from the Knack, Burton, Averre, and Prescott, Niles. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on the show.
Howdy doody.
Thank you. He actually got us down here with a promise of free love, but I'm not sure what that means anymore.
Well, that's why I brought Tie Stick into the studio. She joins us too at the camera.
Hi.
You'll make her blush.
She's all about the free love. And gentlemen, what is the time on the clock if we could just...
It's
4:20 years ago. I know where it's from. No, I don't. It's the theme of the show.
Yeah, the theme of the show.
420 was the original choice for 7-Eleven, and they test marketed it. It didn't sound as good. That's what 420 is.
It makes a better radio feature. I agree.
That's right.
Crosby, Stills, and
That's right.
Nash's
Crosby, Stills,
second
and Nash.
album.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
4 and 20,
It
one
was
of my
actually-
favorite songs.
It was actually the first album.
No, it was
4 and
Deja
20.
Vu.
It's on Deja Vu.
4 and 20?
Yeah, I think it's on
I
Deja
stand
Vu.
corrected.
You are.
We were just spent the last 10 minutes in the studio going, because I told him, hey, I'm having you on for the 420, and we were talking about different things that 420 may or may not mean, and you came up with some good ones. What was the thing with the Gettysburg Address that you thought?
4-score-and-7. That's what it was. 4-score-and-7 years ago.
Yeah, we were thinking maybe he had said 4-score-and-20 years ago.
Which didn't make any sense, because that would say 4-score and another score.
Well, he was dyslexic anyway.
The thing was, they did have hemp back then, so there is some sort of relationship.
There
to
is.
it.
There is.
It's
There's
very-
a hemp
That's another
scene.
Abe theory. apparently.
So thanks, you guys.
He
for-
joins Bill Clinton, by the way, with the folklore. Good to meet you.
Yeah, man, it's great to have you here, and now you've been here for a few days, I'm told by your...
We came in yesterday morning.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. We got 2
Yep.
whole days off in the island before we play.
Well, we had a Groundhog Day experience because we lived Monday in Japan, and then we got to relive it again in Hawaii.
Oh, the time zone
Isn't that
thing.
incredible?
Yeah.
That's
I
dope.
think that's how they screwed up and gave us an extra day off here.
Oh,
Because they forgot we got a day back.
I think it's a bargain, man. You
Oh, you
come, you
bet.
hang out for a few days, then you do
It's
the gig.
wonderful.
It's great.
Are you sticking around after the gig for a few more? Or?
I'm actually going to Kauai for 3 days afterwards.
You're sticking around.
Well, I always figure it's how well we played will determine how long I stick around for.
That's a good way of looking at it and opening it up to folks. And you were in Japan right before you did this, right? Correct? You did the
We did
Fuji
the
Rock
Fuji Fest, which is like Woodstock, sort of, in Japanese land. But it was incredible because many, many groups played. Foo Fighters and Beck played. Beach Boys played the day we played. Moby, a lot of great bands.
Very eclectic.
Juliette Lewis, great thing to look at.
She performed at that?
No, but meeting her in the lobby was enough for me.
She did perform there, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, she
Nice.
was wonderful. And a lot of great bands. We felt it was an honor to play, and there were a lot of fans that hadn't seen us in 4 and 20, and they were so happy to see us play that we actually were alive. We weren't wax figures anymore, and it was a wonderful
Well, 3 of us
experience. Yes, at least 3 of us. It was a great performance.
I've heard nothing but good things about it. A lot of bands rave about getting to do that gig. The fans are so appreciative at
It
that
was
festival.
great. The last time we were in Japan was 25 years ago.
Wow.
And apparently there was a lot of curiosity about us, and we got up on stage, and a big crowd was really ready to rock, and they were jazzed, and that always gets our adrenaline pumping, and it was a terrific,
That's cool,
terrific
man.
gig.
That's a very special one, and one that seems to grow every year. I always am hearing about the Fuji
Yeah, they actually
Rock
burnt an effigy of Bruce, our old drummer.
Fest. Did you?
Yeah, and burned marshmallows on it. It was okay.
A
It was
rite of
great.
passage, perhaps.
It was beautiful. It was a
at
great
the-
experience.
At the event. And another thing that makes having the Knack on the show right now kind of special is you guys were just on NBC's Hit Me Baby One More Time show, getting some
Indeed
juice.
we were.
How was that?
We were hit one more time.
Was that, how'd you get hooked up to do that? Like an agent thing? Kind
Yeah,
of?
they asked our manager, and he said, fine. It was, it was a primetime NBC, so he said, well, can't beat that with
No,
a
you
gig.
can't beat that.
Well, to me, it was a continuation, whether you are Republican, whether you're apolitical or have a party. George Bush started this thing with having, they interviewed him on 60 Minutes, and he mentioned that he listened to the Knack, My Sharoni, when he jogged. which got us a lot of media interest, a lot of things on VH1, MTV. We're back in the public eye again, and I think the show was kind of a continuation of the exposure of My Sharona, and it was a great show, and we performed excellently. We also did a cover of, well, I could be honest.
You say so ourselves. We were great.
We rocked.
Well, nobody threw anything, so I guess we were good. We also did a version of the Jet song, Gonna Be My Girl, which was a great thrill for us to play a song that's kind of contemporary.
Sure.
Did a great job of it.
I think it's. I was reading that on your website about the president having it in his iPod or whatever.
Well, the funny thing is, I didn't know that he mentioned it on 60 Minutes. It was a story in the New York Times. They thought it was really kind of funny because they had a couple of names of songs that were perhaps incongruous for the president, and so they made a big deal out of him having My Sharona because of the smutty lyrics, or what they call smutty lyrics.
Sure.
So they thought that was funny. Next thing I know, it's on the 6 o'clock news. It's like one of their lead stories.
And then the president
on
has to
two different-
backpedal. And
Yes, and that's hard because he used it when he's mountain biking, and it's very hard to backpedal on a mountain bike.
so it is really his exercise music. Is that what this?
Apparently so.
We're not sure what he does to it. However, I'm sure he jogs to that. I thought it would be the Oak Ridge Boys rather than the Knack, frankly. I was really pleased and flattered.
I'm sure there's plenty of that too.
Nice. Your promoter just stuck his head in the door. Is there something that you need, Brother Greg? Just keeping the door up? You can come on in and shut the door behind
We're
you.
plugging the show. Don't worry
He
about
wants to
it.
groove with the vibes.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what he wanted.
Vibe.
He's like, I'll just stand in the door with the door open.
I think it's a floral arrangement in his hair.
I think so too. And you've outdone him on your shirt too. He always comes with a flowery shirt. I find yours just a bit more.
It's kind of a world peace kind of statement, really.
I like it. It's a good vibe.
I thought of it as more African than island, actually.
Yes. Speaking of which,
It's quite
send your
multicultural.
money in.
It's a multicultural sort
There
of
are
thing.
some problems there, but we'll talk about that later.
And I like another thing is you can go to the knack.com, by the way, for more information on them. Tickets are on sale. You can get them at the door tomorrow night for Pipeline Cafe's show. I saw that you had done a recent gig. It was earlier in the summer, but cystic fibrosis, you did a benefit for them.
Yes, in Hudson, Wisconsin. It was actually really a terrific opportunity. Our guitar tech, Jeff Johnson, lives in Hudson, and he promotes this benefit concert every year. And so it was only natural that we did it. We had a chance to because the next night we were playing Racine, Wisconsin, and it's a terrific success. Hudson is a kind of a suburb of Minneapolis. It's right over the border. And there were tons of people. It was an outdoor concert at night, and it was just jammed.
I think it's dynamite when bands do stuff like that. It was really cool as I was looking at your tour itinerary to see that you would be able to donate your time like that and put it to a good cause, like a benefit show.
Well, being Prescott again for the moment, I have 3 children, and our new drummer, actually, Pat Torpy, has a 2-year-old boy, and Burton would if he had the right, well, I don't want to speak for you, Burton, but
Equipment? What are you going to say?
No, the right Miss Right, so to speak.
Yes, of course.
And if you have an intellect of 100, an IQ of 180 or more, please email Burton. He'd be more than interested. He's the resident genius of the band. But we'll do anything for children. Honestly, besides having children myself, we always have an open heart because we feel, obviously, children have been dealt a lot of great injustices today, whether it's illness or abuse, and we're more than happy to take up any cause for them.
Yeah, it's very cool. I'm always into people who do stuff like that. People can read more about the Knack's contribution to the community at large at theknack.com. And one of the things that makes having you in the room, Prescott, and I don't know, Burton, were you at the original Woodstock?
No.
But
I'm a West Coast guy.
Well, some people made the pilgrimage east of that.
I stayed home. I was 15.
You were 15 and staying home. But Prescott went, and you were there?
Yeah, I was there. I used to go upstate New York every summer growing up, and where the Woodstock site was maybe an hour and a half from where I used to go to, growing up, to Catskills. And the summer I heard of Woodstock, I figured, well, first of all, let me take it back a second. I had met somebody named Velvet Turner, who I eventually did an album with in California, and he knew Jimi Hendrix. And it was hard to believe. I actually didn't believe him, but after going to Jimmy's 25th birthday party, after seeing him perform, I believed it. I had met Jimmy a couple of times through Velvet and saw him perform maybe 6 or 7 times. But Woodstock was my own effort. I hitched up there. I told people I was in Santana because I had long curly hair and I had a guitar case and nobody knew who Santana was and who was going to drive me 100 miles to Woodstock. It worked.
A great way to get a ride.
Ironically. And I got up there, pretended to work there so I could get a pass to be there. I didn't know the gates would be kicked down the next day. But I actually got to be near the stage for The Who and Sly the night before. Jimmy, he was a rumor he wouldn't show up. And I had gone to sleep. We had like a place to sleep, like a little trailer. Woke up hearing him playing. I ran down the hill, half dressed, literally in the mud, and it was one of the most breathtaking. I never heard him do the Star Spangled Banner before. And it was just breathtaking to see him play. And the movie didn't do justice to him because they showed all the garbage picking up scenes.
Right.
It was disgusting because he was amazing that day. And the fact that he didn't sleep to show up was incredible.
That's Prescott. Sorry, that anecdote about your getting a ride by telling people you were in Santana.
Yes.
That explains so much about you.
Did you
No,
just
no.
learn more about him?
I absolutely. I mean, like Prescott as an adult just came clear to me with that anecdote.
You have a guitar case, you have curly long hair, you see a poster. Nobody knew Santana was in New York, and how was going to drive you 100 miles?
You were working it.
I did, but God knows, I think I blessed Santana with worldwide recognition.
That's a great bit, man, to get to. And you have your own, there is a connection to Jimmy. What's the deal? You have like a connection to the family?
The family, through Velvet, I had met the sister, Jenny, Janine, whatever you call her, and I did a couple of years, I did a talent, they had the talent contest for the best Jimi Hendrix type guitarist, and I was able to judge for a couple of years.
That's nice.
And they're wonderful people. I also met the cousin also does a lot of the merchandising. And I'm so glad it's in the family's hands. And they're doing an excellent job with all the re-releases. I just saw the Electric Ladyland DVD version, which was incredible, and the biography that Warner had originally did, Jimi Hendrix.
Yep.
So I can't wait for the new one to come out in September.
Yeah,
I
the
think it's
Woodstock.
going to be incredible.
Yeah, I know John McDermott really well, who is on the board of directors and works with Janie real closely on that stuff.
Well, the ironic thing is, too, Michael Lang, who promoted the show, ended up starting a record company called Just Sunshine, who ended up signing Velvet Turner and myself to do the album in Los Angeles. So there was a lot of, and Gary Kellogren, who was Jimmy's engineer, started engineering us as well.
You got
so there's
some,
a lot of connections.
Some great history, man. And
just looking at the poster up there, the Blue Wild Angel.
Yeah.
If Jimmy came out, me and Burton would discuss. Jimmy came out today or yesterday, looking at him, knowing how amazing he'd be a star, and deservedly so overnight, because nobody had the persona he did, let alone the ability.
He was a very unique cat, and having a connection to him is always something special. And certainly getting to have seen him, even if it was just part of the show and half dressed, getting to see him at Woodstock would be...
Well, that could be misleading. But I actually did meet him a few times with Velvet, eating and just being himself. And he was a very intelligent man. He wasn't a wild person, as some people portray him as. He was intelligent, he was sensitive, and I think a lot of his bravado was kind of to cover up that vulnerability. Look at his lyrics.
Yeah.
He was always talking about love and harmony and acceptance. He was amazing. He should be a goodwill ambassador.
Yeah, I would always say that. He seemed very tough in some ways if you looked at him, but he was a very, very soulful dude and kind.
Loving person.
Yeah.
Deeply loving.
I've obviously never met him, but I know people have said just what you did, so that's good to hear from someone up close. And finally, relating to the future, you guys, when was the last? It was 2001. When was the last year that you did a new record? You had something that came out.
Normal as the Next Guy was, I think it was 2002.
2000. Okay, right. Yeah, that's
the years just run together these days. It was after the millennium. That's all I know.
It is, and it's at the beginning of a millennium of a change. It can certainly, the years do seem to run together more.
Oh yeah.
In my head, they definitely have a hard time keeping stuff separate. So when's the next thing going to be?
The next thing could be anything. Well, it's funny hearing the ad before driving up, just hearing a few of the songs from Get the Knack. Me and Burton were saying, if that came out today, just for the sheer energy of the band, the minimal approach with just the four pieces, I mean, it could be a hit today, which is really a testament to the great songwriting and the playing.
And the minimal approach is really, I mean, today that says a lot. There could be a lot of songs that would fall into that same niche.
Well, it's funny. People will ask, what do you suppose it was about that song that made it a big hit in its time, that gave it staying power? And I've always felt that if you rock and have some personality to it, it's timeless. There's always going to be an audience for a good rock song, and popular music goes through trends and cycles, and people for whatever reason get away from that, and every time some clever person gets back to it and gives them a song with some fun and excitement and immediacy, The kids always respond to it. They're always going to.
And I think you said a lot. It has a very immediate quality to it, to the song, and has kept its freshness.
And aren't we glad that nobody added the synth part to it?
Yeah, exactly.
No,
The remix dance version.
the 12-inch version. They are tomorrow at Pipeline Cafe.
Okay, hey, what's going on? Aloha, this is Prescott Niles from the Knack, and you're listening to our buddy and yours, Dave Lawrence. Hey, Dave, it's 420.
Aloha, this is Burton Averre from the Knack, and you're listening to our buddy Dave Lawrence. Hey, Dave, it's 420.